Well, here we are back where we started, except this time I've got all the mods installed, so let's see how this baby performs. Okay guys, I am back and we've got the final dyno results here, so let's have a look at them and see what happened. First thing you'll notice is that all the curves are a little bit more consistent, they're more tight together, and I'm not sure exactly why this is. It could just be that he didn't leave the engine running as long between runs, so there wasn't as much heat soak. It could also be because the thermostat and other modifications that I put into the car that enhanced cooling allowed the fans and everything to work in harmony with the thermostat and keep those engine temperatures pretty stable. Because as I said, I had to reprogram the car after doing all the physical mods to take full advantage of the effects, right? So you can see that the heat soak has definitely been significantly reduced. Also, notice peak torque. Holy shit, like we're getting 317 pounds on the best run, and I've got no reason to believe that that's actually the maximum that the power band has in it, because we're only starting the run at 3,000 RPM. All torque right at the beginning. It looks like a Tesla curve, to be honest. Like, this is what a Tesla looks like. An electric motor has like 100% torque at 0 RPM. That's what this looks like. It's really torquey. But the problem is it still falls off after 5,000. You can see that the mods didn't do much to flatten out the horsepower curve as I had hoped. Now, because this is hard to compare back to the first graph, let's just overlay them. So all I did was take the raw data from both graphs and throw it into Excel. So let's take a look at the Excel graph with both curves overlaid and see how they compare. All right, so here we've got a graph with both curves overlaid onto each other. So you've got the pink at the top, which is the torque curve for the modded state of the vehicle. The blue is the original, the stock. And then horsepower is depicted in dark blue and yellow, respectively. So you've got the modified horsepower and the original horsepower in yellow. So the yellow and light blue are the original graph, and you can see that essentially you've got railroad tracks, essentially. So the modded curves are following the stock curves pretty closely, with a pretty predictable gap in between them, which is indicative of the pulley drop, the pulley size drop. Now, normally, just dropping a pulley would merely increase the boost pressure. You'd go from 7 psi to maybe 10 psi, and that would increase heat and would make the blower run less efficiently and all this. And you might not see this graph, but because the other mods help to keep the car cool, enhance airflow, and that sort of thing. Even though you're not seeing the effect that I was hoping to see, where it flattened out the torque curve and gave you a lot more meat at the top end, even though you're not seeing that, you're still seeing that the curves run fairly parallel to each other, meaning that there's no bottleneck in the system. And the bottleneck might have been there had it not been for the mods that we did. So I guess rather than getting a benefit from the mods in and of themselves, I'm merely eliminating a bottleneck that would have otherwise been there. And I'm also thinking that maybe having a 3-inch exhaust might have made a bit of a difference too. And of course, if you had something like solid lifters or I don't know, other more extreme mods, maybe a cam, you'd see a different effect. I've looked at other horsepower curves, or I've looked at other dyno graphs rather, from similar Monte Carlos, same era, similar mods. And although they did have a pretty steep torque curve, just like I do, they didn't fall off quite as badly at 5,000. So this is a bit of a mystery to me. It'll continue to be so until I figure out what's going on. But I'm not disappointed, because you're still gaining power throughout the entire power band. And while I'm not able to raise my shift points, it doesn't really matter, because I'm getting so much torque at the low end that even in higher gears, you're still getting a tremendous amount of force laid down on the pavement. And look at the horsepower. Horsepower would normally be a rising slope, but this horsepower curve, because there's so much torque available right from the beginning, it's pretty flat. So you're getting pretty much maximum horsepower all throughout the range. And I just cut it off at like 5,000, 5,100 and shift there. Because at that point you've got dropping torque, dropping horsepower, and the force being laid down on the concrete is not increasing. So I just cut it off at around 5,100 and shift, and I get to take advantage of everything to the left of that, which is a lot. So I'm thinking that the best thing to do for this car now is just to improve the grip by getting better tires. Better tires means that you can launch at a higher RPM, get that power raised up even faster. So you can see that the pink curve, for example, is peaking at around, 3,200, 3,300, something like that. Again, that's just because that's where he had to start the test. But if you had your foot to the floor the whole time, right from zero, and you were able to hold traction, I'm sure that the peak would be even further to the left, and the horsepower curve correspondingly would be even flatter. So you got a lot of area under the curve to take advantage of. The car should be a 6-second car at this power level, and I'm quite happy with the results.